Hello students, how are you all? So let's start with today's class 12 biology class. So today we will start with a new chapter 2, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In the previous chapter we have discussed about the basics of reproduction, the types of reproduction and detail of asexual reproduction. Now in this chapter we will study sexual reproduction in flowering plants, that is called angiospermic plants, because angiosperms are the only plants which produce flowers. So let's see what we have written here. Flowers, a fascinating organ of angiosperms. Why flowers are called a fascinating organ of angiosperm? Let's see. If we talk about humans, flowers are the objects of aesthetic, ornamental, social, religious and cultural value. Means flowers play very much important role in our life. By using flowers, we can express our feeling, like feeling of love, care, affection, grief, mourning. That is why they have aesthetic, social, religious and cultural value. One more term is related to this. Here you can see floriculture. The cultivation of ornamental flowers is called floriculture. So can you name any 5, just think in your mind, can you suggest any 5 names of ornamental flowers which are commonly used by human or which can be easily available to your nearby places? Okay, just think about it and let me tell you when in the next lecture. So floriculture, as we have discussed, the cultivation of ornamental flowers. So ornamental flowers, why do they cultivate ornamental flowers only? Because of their beauty, because they have attractive colors. They are so beautiful that they attract people. So they can be used for gardens as well as for industries. Means they can be also used for preparation of some cosmetics products, rose water, etc. So this is called floriculture. And if we talk about biologists, then flower plays important role because the flower study tells them about the full process how the new plants originate. Means the reproduction in flowering plants. So before starting with the detail of the steps of sexual reproduction in flowers, in plants, let us see the structure of flower. You can see here I have already drawn this structure and in your previous classes you have already done this structure of flower. Let us repeat it again. So the innermost part of flower is called the female reproductive part, which is called carpel or pistil. We will start with the innermost hole because you know that there are 4 holes in case of flowers, outer 2 and inner 2. So we will start with the first hole, that is carpel or pistil, and its arrangement is called gynoecium. So this is a female reproductive part. The upper part is called stigma, then style, and the lowermost bulged part is called ovary. So the stigma is for collection of pollen grains for fertilization, style is for connection between these 2 parts, and ovary, which has ovule inside it for further fertilization process. Now let's come to the next hole, that is called stamen. The arrangement of stamens will form the second hole, inner second hole. This arrangement of stamens is called androecium. So let us see the parts of a stamen. The upper part, which is a lobe-like structure, is called anther, and this thread-like structure is called filament. Let's come to the next hole, the outer one. You can see here, these are called petals. So the petals, they are brightly colored, which makes the flower beautiful to attract the insects for pollination. And sometimes they produce a very good fragrance also. The outermost hole is formed by sepals. So sepals are the green small leaf-like structures which are present here. You can see here. The arrangement of sepals is called calyx and arrangement of petals is called corolla. So sepals are green in color and they protect the flower in bud condition. The flower is enclosed in the bud condition by the sepals. When flower gets mature, the sepals open and the other parts of the flowers are released out. So this is the whole arrangement of the various parts of flower. And one more important part is called thalamus. Thalamus is the point or the part where all these other parts are attached. So this bulged part you can see here is called thalamus or receptacle. It is also called as receptacle. Okay, so is it clear? The outer two holes will be formed by, outermost will be formed by sepals, then inner one by petals, then inner two petals will be formed by stamens, and inner two stamens will be formed by carpel or pistil. So this is the structure of flower. Now we will discuss the internal structure in detail. Let's see. So let's see the four holes in a flower. The outer two holes are called calyx and corolla. The outermost is calyx and the inner one is corolla. Calyx is the arrangement of sepals and corolla is the arrangement of petals. And the inner two holes are androecium and gynoecium. Androecium is the arrangement of stamens and gynoecium is the arrangement of pistils. Okay, so the outermost hole is formed by calyx, inner one is corolla, inner to corolla is androecium and inner to androecium is gynoecium. These two holes are called accessory holes and these two are called essential holes. Why is that so? Because they are just for the protection and giving color to the flower for attracting the pollinating agents. And these are called essential holes because they are required, they are the female and male reproductive parts without which there will be no fertilization. Means they have very much important role because they will form male and female gamete for fusion. So is it clear? The four holes of the flower, the outer two are called calyx and corolla and the inner two are called androecium and gynoecium. So let's see what is this. Flower is a modified shoot. Why it is called a modified shoot? If you will see the structure of a stem or shoot, then you will find that at the tip apical meristem is present and these are the nodes and internodes. So when the shoot has to modify it into a flower, the apical meristem will form the female reproductive part. You can see here the ovary will grow from here, which is the innermost hole. The first node will form the male reproductive part, that is androecium, the second hole. Second node will form petals and third node will form sepals. So in this form, in this way, the flowers will be, the shoot will be modified into a flower. And when all the parts they get compressed, if you will compress all the parts, then this type of structure will be originated. Which is the lowermost bulge part is thalamus. Ovary is, the female reproductive part is attached here, pistil. Then stamen is attached to the point just next to the pistil. Then petal is attached to the point just next to the stamen and then sepals. So this will be the overall structure which is formed by modification of shoot. So let's start with the next topic, that is the structure of male reproductive part, that is anther. So let us start with the pre-fertilization events. So in pre-fertilization events, we will study about the structure and the events that will happen in this. So in the structure we will study about male reproductive parts as well as female reproductive parts. And in events we will study about gametogenesis, means how the male gametes and female gametes are formed. So in first we will study about male reproductive parts. In this we will study anther, the detailed structure of anther, microsporangia present inside it, and pollen grains, how the male gamete will be formed inside the pollen grain. So let's start with the male reproductive organ, that is stamen. So stamen has two parts. The upper part, which is a lobe-like structure, is called anther, and the lower thread-like structure is called filament. If you will see the anther, generally anther is bilobed because there are two lobes present in an anther. In most of the plants, the anther is bilobed, but there are some exceptions also where anther can be a single lobe structure, like in Malvaceae family. So you can see the structure, the bilobed structure of anther, and there is a tissue between these two lobes which will connect these two lobes. This tissue is called connective tissue. This tissue is called connective. So let's see here, in the bilobed anther there are four sac-like structures present, which is called, this is microsporangium, which is called microsporangium. In one lobe there are two microsporangia, and in the other two there are two more. So total how many microsporangia will be there? 4. So in a bilobed anther there are 4 microsporangia. So this anther which have two lobes is called dithecus, because theca word is used for lobe. Okay, so theca word is used for lobe. So this anther is called dithecus because it has two lobes. And tetrasporangiate because it has 4 microsporangia in it. Now what is the function of this structure? This microsporangium will form the pollen grains, and the pollen grains will be released out when the anther will dehisce, means when the anther will burst, the anther breaks down and the pollen grains are released from the anther through this microsporangium. So this is the structure of anther, and now we will discuss the detailed structure of the inner part, the TS of anther. Okay, let us see the detailed structure of anther, the internal structure of anther. So here you can see this is a bilobed and tetrasporangiate anther. So this is the outermost layer, which is called epidermis, which is made up of a single layered cells. Inner to epidermis is called endothecium, which is called endothecium. Inner to endothecium, here you can see here the gap is bigger than these two because the middle layer which is present inner to endothecium can be a layer of 2 to 3 layer of parenchymatous cells. So the outermost is epidermis, then endothecium, and then middle layer. Inner to middle layer, this layer you can see here is called tapetum. Tapetum plays a very important role. It is made up of the cells which have some specific function, because later we will study the function of each and every layer one by one in detail. Now we are just discussing the structure here. So the outermost layer is epidermis, then endothecium, then middle layer, and then tapetum. And these 4 layers will form the anther wall. Okay, so these 4 layers will form the anther wall. Inner to tapetum, there is a structure called sporogenous tissue. This sporogenous tissue contains the cells which are called microspore mother cells, which will later undergo gametogenesis to produce pollen grains. So pollen grains will be formed inside the sporogenous tissue, which are the powdery yellowish substances which will be released out when anther will burst, when anther will dehisce. Okay, we will study in detail the dehiscence of anther. And in the center we have this connective tissue which will connect the two lobes of anther. Okay, is it clear? Let us see this detailed structure of the layers. The outermost layer, here you can see a single layer which is epidermis, the protective layer. Inner to epidermis, this tightly packed, closely packed cells layer which is called endothecium, which is made up of callous wall. It has its function, we will discuss later. Next, these 2-3 layer cells, they will form middle layers. Inner to middle layer, you can see these pyramid shaped cells which will form a layer called tapetum. And there can be the chance that tapetum, the cells forming tapetum layer may have more than one nucleus, more than one nuclei. Then inner to tapetum, you can see here the cells which are called microspore mother cells, which is a part of sporogenous tissue. These microspore mother cells will form pollens, pollen grains that will be later released out from the anther for fertilization. So this is the enlarged view of microsporangium wall, which is showing the wall layers, all the anther wall layer as well as the microspore mother cell layer. Now let us see the more detailed structure of the anther and the function of different layers which forms the anther, inner part of the anther. Okay, let's start. Let's see the detailed internal structure of anther. So here you can see the 4 lobes I have shown you, and in journal I have told you about the various layers forming the anther wall. So let us see, the 4 layers are included in the anther wall. The outermost, which is formed by a single layer of cell, is called epidermis. Inner to epidermis, this compact layer is called endothecium, which is formed by callous thickening. We cannot show callous thickening here, but I have shown you the compact layer. Third layer is the middle layer, which is formed by 3 to 4 layers of parenchymatous cells. Okay, so now let us see the most important layer, which is called tapetum, and tapetum will form the outer covering of microsporangium. This inner structure is called microsporangium and or pollen sac. It is also called as pollen sac. So this tapetum layer has very much important role. Let us see, it is made up of pyramid shaped structure cells. So what are the functions of tapetum? First is, it has thick cytoplasm and it is multinucleated. So there can be the chance that some of the cells of tapetum layer can be multinucleated. This multinucleated condition can be formed when the karyokinesis is not followed by cytokinesis. Only the karyokinesis will take place, due to which the multinucleated condition will appear. Next is, it acts as a nutritive layer, because you know that inside this microsporangium or pollen sacs, the microspore mother cells are there which will form microspores. So it acts as a nutritive layer which provides nourishment to the developing microspores. So the microspores which are formed inside the pollen sac, it will get nutrition from this tapetum layer. Next is, it secrete enzyme called callase. This is very important point, because we know that in the previous layer endothecium, it was formed of callose, and the tapetum release callase enzyme. Now what is the function of this callase? As the name is saying, callase will dissolve callose. But why there is a need of dissolution of callose? Because when the pollen grains are formed, they are formed in the form of a tetrad. Tetrad means in the number of 4, which are glued together with the callose secreted by this endothecium layer. So this tetrad has to be broken down, they are glued together with the callose, which can be broken down by the callase. So callase will dissolve the callose and release the pollen grains so that they can be free. Next is, cells of tapetum produce Ubish bodies. Now what is the function of these Ubish bodies? Ubish bodies, they are coated with sporopollenin. Sporopollenin is the most hardest substance. The sporopollenin, and it will form the exine of pollen grain. When we will study the structure of pollen grain in detail, then you will find that there is a layer in pollen grain which is called exine, which is a very hard layer, because the pollen grains has to travel towards the female reproductive part for pollination. For protection of pollen grains, there is a layer called exine, which is formed by sporopollenin, which is the hardest substance, and this is secreted by the Ubish bodies produced by tapetum. So these are the functions of tapetum layer, and tapetum plays a very important role. And inside the tapetum, inside the pollen sac, these cells are called microspore mother cells, which are diploid cells. They will form the pollen grains. They will undergo meiosis to form pollen grains. In the next topic, we will study about the gametogenesis, or how the pollen grains are formed, how the male gametes are synthesized inside the pollen grain.